Today, fathers are playing a very, very important role in parenting. In fact, a lot of our workshops also has fathers joining in now. Earlier, I have made a video for parenting tips for moms. This video is for you dads out there. I'm going to be sharing a few tips and guidelines for all you fathers out there, especially fathers of Gen Z and Gen Alpha. Hi, I'm Riri Trivedi. I'm a psychotherapist, a parenting coach, a trainer, and author of the book. This book won't teach you parenting, but it will make you a better parent. The book is of course available on Amazon and in your nearest bookstore, and it is published by Penguin Random House. So let us check out these different points that I have today for all you fathers out there. The first tip is, in all your communication with your children, especially Gen Z and Gen Alpha, make sure that the intention to communicate is to build connection and not to control. Because traditionally, because of patriarchy, all the fathers, as fathers, you are used to, communicating to the child with a tone of authority or with the intention to continuously correct them or control them. But this generation is different, and all the communication that you do, whether it is you are asking them about their homework, you are asking them about how their day was, or even when you are disciplining them, try to keep your communication focused to build connection or to build your rapport with the child. Remember, follow the 80-20 principle. I have made a video on that as well, how you need to use 80% of your communication in building connection and only 20% in correcting your children. Because in the long run, let me tell you, as the father of a son or a daughter, having a deep connection will definitely help you navigate through the tough teenage years. And even after that, if you already have built connection in the childhood, it will definitely help you to discipline them with less harshness, and it will also build connection again after the teenage volatile years are over. So connection over correction is obviously the first tip. The second tip is that try to, as fathers, I know that you have a deep-rooted intention to protect your children, your wife, your children, your family. But at the same time, do not be overprotective. It is very important to raise your children with a sense of independence. And in the book, I have described age-appropriate independence that you can give your children. Remember that when children are allowed to make mistakes, fail and fall, that is when they learn life skills. Unfortunately, today's parenting is very, very over-involved, overprotective parenting, mothers and fathers both. So I would like to say that as a father, I know that you may want to protect your son or daughter from heartbreaks, from failures. You may want to preempt, and you already know because of your age what might go wrong, what is not right, where they will fall. But sometimes it is okay to step back and let them fail and fall. So prepare yourself to see your child fail, fall, have a heartbreak, and learn from those mistakes versus always trying to protect them. Because independence is a very important element for a child to become confident and to become emotionally resilient. The third point is try to be a part of their world, because Gen Z, Gen Alpha's world is very different from the world you grew up with. So their world is full of technology, AI, memes, Instagram posts, reels, and everything that they do, whether it is their homework, whether it is awareness, information, is all in a very different format versus what you grew up with. So I would suggest that instead of standing away and criticizing their world, saying things like, oh, but this is not good, oh, you are spending so much time on this, oh, but in our times this was not how it was, and hence we are so much better. Do not do that. Instead, try to be curious. Step into their world, understand the world from their eyes, and be a part of their tech, be a part of their social media, be a part of their life, so that you can help them navigate through the challenges that come with it. The fourth tip is, of course, be honest, because most of you, just like me, grew up as a generation of children who have been taught to just follow orders and not question, right? And hence we've also grown up with this you should not say certain things, you should not share certain things, you should not express everything, etc. But Gen Z and Gen Alpha is different. They have got so much of exposure to the world, they have information on their fingertips, and this brings with them a sense of honesty and authenticity. So this is not a generation who's going to put up with a lot of pretenses. They are going to question everything that you ask them to do. So be honest about things. Be honest about why you are making them do certain things, why you are asking them not to do certain things. Be honest about your fears and insecurities that you may have about them, their behaviors, or their social media and phone usage. Remember, with this generation, honesty works best. You can even be very honest about the mistakes you made as a child or a teenager. So share with them things with honesty versus creating a fake narrative or asking them to pretend and be fake, because it's not going to work with them. Point number 5 is be very open to mental health conversations. Remember, this generation is growing up with the buzz around mental health. Today, even a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old talks about mental health. So versus again saying that, oh, this is for the weak people, ye mental health ka to ek fashion hai, fad hai, don't say that, because when you say that, you are judging. And if the child at all has some concerns or even some misconceptions about mental health, the child is not going to discuss with you. So be open to these discussions and also try to understand what is your child's take on these topics like anxiety, depression, sadness, grief, ADHD, etc. Because these are buzzwords and kids are loosely using them. Today, every child is saying, I am traumatized. Does your child even understand what is the difference between sadness and depression, or what is the difference between a normal fear or anxiety? Well, only when you have these discussions with them will you be able to understand how your child is looking at mental health. Also remember that Gen Z is a very aware generation. So if you have certain issues in your own behavior or personality, so you have, say, volatile behavior, you have anger issues, you have depression or anxiety, you have fears or phobias, you have marital issues, or you are very, very easily triggered, then your child knows that you have a mental health problem. And be open to working on yourself. Be open to taking therapy, because when you are open and honest about your mental health challenges, then your children are also going to be open about it and they will also take help. So again, it is linked to the point on honesty. Have open, honest discussions. I would also like to say that for Indian parents, it is very difficult to discuss certain difficult conversations with this generation, like about, sexuality, addictions, etc. I have made a special video on that, on how you can handle these topics. But I would just like to say that as a father, it is very important that even if you are not okay with it, gear yourself up, prepare yourself up to have these conversations with your children, because if you are not going to have them, they are going to get it from somewhere else, which may be wrong or misleading. Also, point number 6 or tip number 6 is do not compare this generation with your generation. A lot of fathers and mothers get into this trap that हमारे ज़माने में तो ये था, आपका तो ऐसा नहीं है, we used to be like this, but look at you, you are a soft generation, we used to be very strong. When you start doing this, your children automatically distrust you. They don't want to share their challenges and their world with you. They do not want to discuss. So they will just say that, oh, there's no point talking to dad anymore. So be open. Listen a lot. When your teenager or Gen Z or Gen Alpha kids are talking, please listen. That is one thing that parents are not learning how to do. Listen with an open mind. Ask a lot of questions so that they are sharing their feelings, emotions, thoughts, perspectives, and do not judge. Do not invalidate their feelings. Keep listening to them so you will get an idea about their world, and that is where you will be able to guide them if they lack guidance. So keep that communication open and do not compare your times with theirs. Do not also believe that what your parents did, the same approach is going to work for this generation, because this is a different generation. They are wired differently. So obviously the method you used earlier, the same method is not going to be relevant for these kids. You might need to look up parenting resources online or, on through other channels, and find out tools so that you can parent this generation differently from how your parents parented you, if you feel that your parents' parenting was not okay. Also, do not compete with your children's phones and technology. A lot of fathers and mothers do this, where they say that either your phone or me. When you're talking to me, keep your phone away, or when I enter the room, I don't want to see you on the phone. When you have such rigid rules, what it does is the child now wants to choose between you and the phone. And obviously, when the child will choose the phone or technology, you are going to feel hurt or rejected. Remember, it is not this or that. I would always suggest that have ground rules, have a family media plan. As a family, agree on what are the different times where the phone will not be used by anybody in the family. You also need to follow that. If you are always scrolling on the phone, if you are using the phone under the pretext that I have work on my phone, then your child is also going to say the same thing. So be a part of their world, do not ridicule it, and do not compete with technology and phones, because today's children are growing up with it. Yes, have timelines, have rules around it, negotiate with your kids on what is healthy, not healthy, and work around it. Another tip is model the behaviors that you want your children to learn, because when you learn to respect your wife, your mother, your child, if you talk respectfully, you behave respectfully, even if there is a conflict or a misunderstanding, your child is learning respect. Remember, how you treat your wife and your mother is how your son is going to learn how to treat women. And if you have a daughter, she is going to learn on how men should be treating her. So if you are treating your wife, your mother, or children with disrespect, using abusive language or words, then please take help, work on yourself and fix it, because otherwise your children will normalize those behaviors with others, and they will also normalize others' abusive behavior towards themselves, and the cycle will continue. So please learn to be respectful. Yes, in the previous generations, because of patriarchy, maybe you may have grown up with men shouting at wives or mothers, not respecting them, or treating children like, they are not to be respected, like powerless, helpless little beings. But this generation is different, so it's not going to work with them. It will just isolate them. Also, I would like to say, please spend quality time and not money. A lot of fathers I see are spending on expensive toys and gadgets which they did not get as a child, and now they are indulging their children with all of that. So for the fathers, what I couldn't play with because of my difficult childhood, I want to now buy all of those toys for my child, so I can also become a child and play. Remember, be very clear whether you are buying those gadgets for yourself or for your child. Children do not need gadgets, they actually need your quality time. So if you are doing things, simple things like cleaning the house, organizing the cupboard, cooking, dancing, singing, walking, hiking, swimming, exercising, or just lying down and reading a book, but all these activities, if you do together with your child, then that is going to build connection, not buying expensive gifts for them. I would also like to tell this, especially to Indian men living in India, that please help around the house. Please teach your children how, as a father, you can also clean the house, cook food, do the dishes, change the diapers, and take care of the children and the family. It is not just your wife's responsibility, because today more and more women are also working. So gender roles are becoming blurred. So I would say that as a father, model the behavior that you want. Please be a part of the other household chores as well, and sit with your wife and agree on what things she will do that she enjoys doing or which is easy for her, and what will you do that you may enjoy doing that may be easy for you. Remember, as a father, it is okay for you to sit at home and take care of the child while your wife may work, or it is okay for you to take your child to the art classes, or to take your child to activity classes, and let your wife handle the outside work sometimes. So make sure that you divide the work of parenting and the household chores, because again, your daughter and son are looking at you and learning from you. I would also like to emphasize one more point, that as fathers, it is very important for you to inculcate the value of your family, of your traditions and your culture in your children. So make sure that you have conversations about your grandparents, great-grandparents, your family heritage, the rituals and cultures that you follow, and also explain to this generation on why you do these things. But connecting them to your family and ancestry is really very, very important from an energetic perspective, from an perspective of making your children feel belonged and connected, because Gen Z and Gen Alpha has a problem of rootedness, because they are open, the world is at their fingertips, so they know everything that's happening everywhere, and they are exposed to all kinds of cultures, behaviors and traditions. But in the process, they are feeling less and less connected to their own language, their own food and their own culture. And as a father, it is very important for you to inculcate this in them. So do it through storybooks, through taking them to different programs, functions, activities, family functions. Make a family tree, have them interact with your relatives and extended family, so that they know who's who, and find creative ways to make them remember where they belong. Very, very important, especially for today's generation. last but not the least, I would like to tell fathers that it is okay to cry. It is okay to be vulnerable in front of your children. Please do not pretend and put up a fake front, especially when you want to cry in grief or when you are feeling scared or helpless or even angry. It is okay to back off when you are unable to handle a situation and tell your child, I am not okay right now, I am going to be okay, and then come back and then we will talk about it. So remember, do not engage in power struggles, do not engage in long arguments, but at the same time, be okay to back off when a discussion is going out of hand. Be okay to say that I am not okay. It is okay to tell your child that right now I am stressed, I do not want to talk about this, or right now I am angry, so let me go and cool down. And it is okay for your children to know that that crying is okay, feeling helpless is okay, because not crying is probably more damaging to your mental and physical health. Let your children see you cry. Let your children see you struggling with your emotions and also using some techniques to overcome them, because when they see you using self-regulation techniques, when they see that you are trying to manage your emotions and doing some things about them, they are also going to learn the same. So be a father, be a human first. I hope that this video was useful. I would love to hear from you on what are the other different tips that you have as fathers which I may not have covered here, or are there any particular points here that you resonated with. Please share this video with any 3 fathers that you know and that you feel who needs to see this video today. Let me know in the comments on what are your thoughts about this. Thank you.